and welcome. We're going to be talking about images this week and actually inserting them into your web pages. So to get started, I created an HTML file, and this one just has the instructions for the assignment for the week. So first look at the resources we're going to be reviewing. So Chapter 2 and Chapter 6 are the reviews, and then Chapter 5 is the new material for the week. And within the assignment, you're going to create a folder. We're going to call it images. So here we're talking about that folder structure again that we've been talking about the past couple of weeks. Make sure that you're reviewing those previous videos that were posted, and that will be helpful for you. And then after that, and I'll show you how to do that, we're going to go ahead and save a JPEG file in the images folder, create a new HTML page, or open one of the existing pages that you've got going already and add an image to that. We're going to insert the image with a relative link. So reviewing that lesson, you can see how things are building upon each other as we go. We're going to scale an image. There's a size that we can do. There's the scale we can do. So Chapter 5 introduces you to that. Make sure we're testing in the browser so that you're positive the image is appearing. Once you do that on your computer, from there you're going to upload your HTML file and your images folder, that include the images in it, to your personal web space at Chatham. So that way you've got that relative link, and it's relative to where that image resides based on where the active web page is. And as long as that folder structure stays intact from our computer to the host at Chatham, we'll be good to go and our file will render. If we have issues, we need to go back, look at the code, troubleshoot, fix those errors, and then re-upload, retest until everything is cleared up. As far as the point structure, we've got 20 points. Your image is saved to the images folder. 30 points that we've inserted two different images with relative hyperlinks. 20 points, you've got an image link. So the image is a hyperlink to another web page within your website. 10 points, including alt tag, alternate text for both images. Modify the size with the width and height attributes, so that's the resize, and make sure that it's error free. And submit that before the week is over. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're going to go into, I have my folder structure set up. So I have two HTML files in my main folder, and then I have an images folder and I have a CSS folder. So within my images folder, I want to save my images. So I have some out here already. Within Chapter 5, it talks through how to go about and resize, save. So it talks about image editors. For our purposes, we can just, if you're using a PC, you can use Paint. So if you go to all programs, accessories, you're going to find Paint. So I'm going to open that up now. And then I'm going to go ahead and open that image. So let me right click, open with Paint. Close that one, and you're going to see that it's pretty big, okay? The file size is 1.4 meg. When we're working with images on a website, realistically we want to keep them, if we can keep them at 200K or less, that's good. It's going to take less time to load. A file that's 1.4 meg, so basically I took this with either my phone or a digital camera, which will make it that size. That is huge, and it's going to take a long time to load, as well as take up a lot of space on your host space, where you just have a limited number of meg to start with, so we want to make sure that we don't use that all up on a couple of images. So in Paint, all I need to do, and you might have a different version than I do, but I'm just going to do a resize, and then I'll do 50, which takes it percentage, and OK, and there is my image size. I can also do a selection, make it even smaller, and just select a little bit of it and go ahead and crop it. So right now I've got 568 by 400 pixels. So if we think of the web and monitor size, 568 is actually pretty large. It's probably a third of people's monitors, maybe even up to a half of the monitor size, depending on how large it is. So I'm actually going to want to resize this even more. Let's make it smaller from there. So we'll take it down to 70%. This is a little better range for me, so just about 400 by 280 pixels. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and save this. Save as a JPEG file, which is a smaller optimized file size. And I already am in there, so I'm in my C. Scott folder. That's my main folder. I want to save it to my images folder, so I'm double clicking on that, and I'm going to call it, originally I had called it Naptime Large, so I'm going to call it Naptime Small, and save that. So now I've got that saved, and we can see here in the file size it's down to 52K. So we did a great job minimizing the file size. That's a huge difference between 52K and a meg and a half. So we did a good job with that. So now let's remember we named it naptime-small.jpg. Don't have any spaces in my file name. The dash or the underscore are fine in a file name. It's relatively a short name, and so we're good to go there. So I'm going to close out of this, and then we're going into Coffee Cup, and I have the web page that I created, so PWR 673-week4. So here, if we've got our web page, you can see I've got the hyperlinks there, so that this is my relative hyperlinks for each of my files for the weeks. Week 4 images. So here I want to insert, after this heading, I want to put the appropriate image tag in the file so that it's going to pull in that image. Okay, so now I really need to notice I'm in this week 4 file, which is in my main folder. Let's double click in this images folder and make sure it's there. So there's my image that I created and saved to that folder. So back to the main folder, and here I've got my computer, and there's the website up there. So that shows me my computer and not the host space. So so let's go ahead and put that in. So if I'm looking at chapter 5, beginning on page 145, it talks about and shows the code for inserting images on the page. So we're going to go ahead and do an image tag. So it's image, and look at this, the coffee cup editor prompts you for different attributes, so that's nice. Okay, so here I know that I put my image file in the folder named images, and that / and let's see what I called it. So what I'm doing here is I know I have it in the folder name images. Right now this is a relative link. So this is saying the folder that I have this file saved in, that's right here, go into the folder named images. So let's do that. We're going to double click on that. And now I want to, and I can just double click on this, copy. So Control C to copy that file name. Move my cursor back to the code. Control V to paste. End quote. And then that's saying, okay, let's go back to C Scott, because that's where this file is. Go into the images folder and render the file named naptime-small.jpg, which is the image. Okay, then the instructions for the assignment also say we want to do an alt tag. If I just push the tab key, it's gonna prompt me. It'll fill in the rest of that attribute name, and then it's going to prompt me for information. So here it says text. So there I'm just typing in an alternate text that's going to have, that's going to show up when I do like a tooltip. So I'll put my cursor over the image, or if the image doesn't show up in Internet Explorer and Firefox, you're going to see that tag instead. And then we also asked for the height and width, just to modify the size even more. So this could skew it, right? Because I don't remember exactly what the file size, or not the file size, the image size was, the dimensions of the image. So I'm going to say we'll do 200 pixels high, and the width, so if I just type in the W, it's prompting me for the actual attribute. I press the tab key, and there, let's just say 300 pixels. And I'm not sure if that's going to be skewed or not, so we'll see. Alright, so there I've got the source attribute, which tells me where to go find that file, the alt, which is the text that shows instead of or over the image, and the height and width parameters. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and then I'm going to go view it in my browser. So it's a Control F9, or I just push this and I've got it presenting in Firefox for my browser. So there it is. There's my image now on that page, and if I right click and view source, that's what I've got going. Okay. Let's go back now and modify that. So let's say I mistyped this, right? And I put in naptime space small. And we're going to go ahead and save it again. Test in browser again. And now it is not showing, but that alternate text is. Okay, so it didn't find my image. So that's when you go back and troubleshoot. You want to make sure that what we've got in the relative link is exactly character for character where the image resides and what it's called. And then the browser is going to know what to render. We can duplicate this tag, and let's take off the height and width and see if that makes a difference in the presentation. I want to put them on two different lines, so I'm going to do a line break tag. We'll do a couple of them, so the BR end means it's going to put in a blank line. So let's go ahead and save that again, and then we'll go test it again and see the difference. So you can see the variation in the size. This is the first one is the one that I modified with the height and width attributes, and the second one is not. You also see how fast that rendered, where if I had an image that was at 1.5 meg, it would take some time to render that. Alright, so that is pretty much the assignment, and if you've got any questions, let me know. Happy to help.